Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to this morning's class. Today we are going to be hearing from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the class will be in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, Verse 40, given on December 18, 1973 in Los Angeles. We request devotees to increase the volume on your end. Sometimes the recording can be a little bit distorted. So without further delay, we will start the class. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Visṛjya tatra sarvaṁ dukūla-valayādikam nirmamo nirahaṅkāraḥ sañchinnāśeṣa-bandhanaḥ 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 visṛjya relinquishing tatra all those that sarvaṁ everything dukūla belt valayādikam and bangles nirmamo uninterested nirahaṅkāraḥ unattached sañchinnāśeṣa perfectly cut off aśeṣa-bandhanaḥ unlimited attachment. Translation: Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira at once relinquished all his garments, belt, and ornaments of the royal order, and became completely disinterested and unattached to everything.
This is required if you want to go back to home, back to Godhead, then you'll have to completely become detached to any material things. Even if you have got little attachment for material things, then you'll not be allowed. Prakriti will say, you just satisfy yourself, you want this, do it. So, this is renouncement. God has given us freedom, little freedom. Just like a child is given freedom. Naturally, out of affection, mother, father gives freedom. But not complete freedom, because child's freedom is nonsense. It must be protected. Therefore, all the living entities who have come to this material world for enjoying, it is also exactly like the child. A small child, you let him be free, he'll catch up sometimes this, catch up sometimes that, catch up sometimes that. He does not know what is his real interest. But because he is child, he is catching this, catching that, catching that. Sometimes he catches fire and burns his hand. Sometimes he falls down in the water. Sometimes he catches snake. These are all dangerous things, but he does not know. So similarly, we are in the modes of material nature. There are three modes of material nature. Sattva, Raja, Tama. Those who are in darkness, Tama, completely in darkness, do not know anything. Exactly like the child, does not know what is his actual interest. No, do not. Generally, everyone who is in this material world, he does not know what is actually, what thing he should capture. He does not know. That is difficult. Mura, that is the problem. Real interest is to capture Krishna. That is real interest. But he does not know. The capturing power and capacity is there. Even a child. In the beginning, the children, there are so many other things, but the child will capture that biscuit because he knows it is eatable something, but he does not know whether it is poison I am giving. He does not know that. That discrimination he hasn't got. But because it appears something to be eatable, the example as I was giving in walking, that the fish, he has got enough food within the ocean, God has provided, but he still will capture that tackle. Fish catching tackle, a little something, for taste, he'll capture it, and that means lost life. Similarly, the bees, they enter the flower, big flower like lotus flower, enjoy the smell. But in the evening, with the set of sunset, the petals close and they remain unsuffocated, loses their life. Or we have got different senses. So this bee is losing his life on account of this nostril, very powerful, one should smell. Similarly, the fish is losing its life on account of this tongue. Similarly, the elephant loses such a big, powerful animal, but he loses his independence for sex life. You know how the elephant is captured. A female elephant is induced to attract the male elephant, and for sex the male follows the female elephant, and the female elephant is trained up. He puts him in a ditch, he falls down, then he cannot move. That means in spite of his becoming such a giant animal, powerful animal, simply for sex life he becomes captivated. You see? So someone is becoming victim for this sense, somebody is becoming victim for that sense. This is the world one has to study. Similarly, the deer, when the hunter wants to kill them, he plays very nice flute. And they are very fond of hearing musical sound. They stand and the hunter kills them. So one is losing for ear, one is losing for smelling, another for sightseeing. You have seen the insects. When there is fire, thousands of insects will fall and die. What is that? Sightseeing. Very beautiful fire. Fall down. So we have got all these senses, and every one of us living entities, they are being victim of these material laws being captivated by one sense or another. But an animal or insect, they have got one sense very powerful. But we, the human being, we have got all senses very powerful. So, in the Bhagavad, it has been explained just like a man has got 6 wives, and when he comes from office, the 6 wives are waiting. One wife has captured his one hand, another wife has captured another hand, one wife has captured one leg, another one leg. In this way, some we hear. So in this way, he is incapable of that. Everyone is asking, come to my room. But how he can go? He is captured. So this is the position. A materialistic person is captivated by so many objects of sense gratification. That is his prison house. The state laws, if you are criminal, they put you into the jail. But nature's law is such that you don't require, your senses will keep you intact in jail. You don't require to be handcuffed. The senses are so strong that it will keep you in this material world. Incapable. You cannot move. That was the Bhagavad Gita. It is said, visṛjya mama maya durataya. Guna means qualities. Everyone is compact, bound up by different qualities. Satagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. And guna means rope also. In this way, he was bound up by the ropes. Just like if I tie your hands and legs with rope, you are helpless. Similarly, the gunamai, the mother nature, has tied up. And we are bound up by the laws, stringent laws of material nature. So, visṛjya gunamai, mama maya durata, you cannot get out of it. That is not possible. How to get out of it? Mami vaja prapaddante maya metang tarantite. If one is fully Krishna conscious, he can get out. That is the only way. So, the one process is voluntarily giving up. Just like Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj, he is the king. He is giving up a royal dress, Valayādikam. A king is decorated with fine jewelries, bangles, and many other. Here, you have said. Nowadays, nobody has seen also how many different types of ornaments there is. They do not know him. They simply plastic plate or paper plate, anything, something. They do not know what is golden plate, what is silver plate, what is jewelry, all forgot. All forgot. And still they are proud of advancement of material civilization. What you have got, plastic and paper plates only, that's all. No ornament, no jewel, no house, no garment, no life, everything is gone. And still they are proud. We are advancing in material civilization. Money, we have got money. What is that money? Paper. That's all. And everyone is cheated. Take $100. What is this? A paper. That's all. So it is the society now, at the present moment, the cheater and the cheated. Similarly religion, similarly science, similarly philosophy. Everything is cheating. Because all of them are rascals, and people are rascals, they cannot protest. They cannot protest. Just like this morning there was talking, some boy suggested the creation is, there was something, who was speaking? Big Bang. Big Bang means, what is that? explosion. So people have no brain to ask how this explosion took place. When there is some bomb explosion, immediately there is an inquiry by the police who has put this bomb, how it took place. But this rascal, one scientist says, first of all there was explosion. But nobody will question how the explosion took place. Because they are Sudras. They have no brain. The rascal scientist says there was explosion and he accepts. That's all. Well, this is the going on. So at the present moment, Kali Yuga, very, very difficult to become perfectly realized soul, Krishna conscious. There are two methods. One method is voluntarily giving up all unwanted things. That is one way. Just like Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira is doing. He is the emperor, most opulent. His position is most exalted. There was nothing, material unhappiness, but still voluntarily he is giving up. This is civilization. Not sticking to this. Oh, I have got this emperor, I have got my good brothers, good wife, good children, good influence, good dress, good food, everything good. Why should I give her? Nowadays, even an ordinary post, this elected post, say for 5 years or 3 years, still he will stick to that. The president, your president. He knows that after 3 years it will be finished. So people are protesting, why shall I? Let me give it up. No, he is so much attached to the post that he cannot give, even for 2 years or 3 years or for 1 day. And here you see, in comparison, Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, the emperor of the whole world, and so much opulence. I think any executive officer of any state has bangles or ornaments of jewels. No, there is no such possibility. But he is giving up everything. And he divided the kingdom to his grandsons, to the grandson of Krishna and others. And now he is becoming completely nil. No position. No position. Why? Nirmamo, nirahaṅkāraḥ. Nirmamo. Nirmamo means, mama means mine. Mama means mine. And nir means negation. This is called nirmamo. And nirahaṅkāraḥ, ahaṅkāraḥ, egotism. And nir means not. So, in order to become nirmamo, because here, material world, we are simply fighting. It is mine. Mine. The Arabians, they are, this oil tank, this oil deposit is mine. Or our, the same thing. Individually or collectively. You just make up a gang and you steal something and then you say it is our. Your possession is by stealing. But still you are claiming it is our. So the petrol tank belongs to God, but somehow or other they are in possession, they fighting it is our. So this is called momo. So one has to become nirmamo. It is not mine, it is Krishna's. Immediately become nirmamo. Everything is bondage. So long you claim it is mine. And as soon as you understand it is not mine, it is Krishna's, then you are free. This is the difference of bondage and freedom. Actually it belongs to Krishna. Everything. Isāvāsamidam sarvaṁ. So this consciousness required. So somebody is trying to be nirmamo. to become free from the false idea, it is mine, by renouncing. And if one knows perfectly well that it is not mine, it is Krishna's, then he hasn't got to do anything artificially. If you know that everything belongs to Krishna, I am not the owner. I am given the chance to use it. Tena taktena bhanjita. Whatever allotment is given to you, you can eat. Prasada. Krishna, actually eatable belongs to Krishna. So after eating, whatever he gives you, you also eat this. That is required. So one is trying to renounce this world by practice. Because unless you become fully conscious that anything you are possessing that does not belong to you, that belongs to Krishna, so long you will be allowed to enjoy it under the false impression, egotism, that it is mine. Because you have come here to possess something as your property, so Krishna will give you. Just like father gives children, they're fighting. So father gives some toys, now it is yours. So that's all, play. Don't fight. So similarly, the toy does not belong to the child. It is purchased by the father, it belongs to the father. But the father gives you, now it is yours. Don't fight with the other child. So they are satisfied. Similarly, we have been given by the Supreme Father. Now, this is your America. This is your India. But nothing belongs to the America or to the India. It belongs to the Father, Supreme Father. So unless they come to the consciousness that the Father has given me to enjoy, that this is mine, but actually it belongs to Father. This is called Krishna consciousness. This is called Krishna consciousness. Therefore, those who are Krishna conscious, fully conscious, that nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs. Ishavāsavidam sarvaṁ. Jat kinchit. Even the minute thing, even atom, that belongs to God. I am not proprietor. If this sense comes to you, then you are free. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Māncabhya vicharini bhakti yogena jasevati. Sagunan samati to etan brahma bhuyaya kalpati. The bondage is gunamayi maya, being wrapped up by the qualitative modes of nature. That is bondage. But if one is engaged in devotional service, he is not under this bondage because he knows things as they are. So, just like I am a foreigner, alien, so I have come to your country. So if I claim that this country is mine, then there is trouble. But if I know that I have come as a visitor or as a foreigner, I have come here, so there is no trouble. I can freely move. I can get all the facilities of the United States government. There is no trouble. Similarly, we come here as traveler, as visitor within this material world. And if we claim that this material world belongs to me or a group of men or group of nation, that is called ignorance. So Krishna consciousness movement means to move this ignorance, to make people intelligent, that nothing belongs to you, everything belongs to God. So here is the general process, renouncement. The Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira is saying, because as I have already explained, that because we are too much absorbed in the conception of ahaṅkāra, I am this body, and anything in relationship with this body that is mine. This is illusion, moho. This is called moho, illusion. Janasya moho ayam. Moho means illusion. This is illusion. What is this? illusion. Aham bhaveti, I am this body, and everything in relationship with it, that is mine. This is karma, illusion. He does not, the body even does not belong to him, because the body is awarded by God according to your karma. Just like according to your payment, the landlord gives you an apartment. The apartment does not belong to you. That's a fact. If you pay $500 per week, you get a nice, good apartment. And if you pay $25, then you get another. Similarly, these different types of body we have got. Everyone we have got different types. This is apartment. Actually it is apartment because I am living with this body. I am not this body. That is the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita. Dehi asmin yatha dehi. Asmin dehi, there is the dehi, the occupier, not proprietor. Occupier, just like in any apartment, the occupier is somebody and the owner is somebody. Similarly, this is apartment, this body. I am the spirit soul occupier. I have rented it according to the payment or according to karma. Darwin's theory is a failure because he cannot explain why there are different types of, even in human society, every man is different from the other man. Why? If it is nature's process, then all the bodies should have been equally the same. But why different? Just like in an apple tree, the formation of apple is the same. So if it is nature's evolution, then why there are white men, black men, colored men, deformed men, and no one's face will be equal to anyone. That he cannot explain. This is the explanation that just the same example, just a man, as he pays for it, he gets a different apartment. So we have got different bodies, different apartment, according to our karma. And whose karma? The soul's karma. But he has no information of the soul, and how the soul is working, how he is getting a different body. Tatha dehantara prapti. This science is unknown to him, but still he is known as the master of evolution, and people are following him. This is ignorance. Andhajathandvi, one blind rascal gives some theory, and the followers are also blind rascals, they follow. They do not take instruction from the perfect. Therefore our position is perfect. Because we are not following rascals and fools. We are following Krishna, the Supreme Perfect. That I may be imperfect. That's a fact. I am imperfect. Just like a child is imperfect. That's a fact. But so long he follows the father, catching his hand, he is perfect. He is perfect. He has no danger. He has no danger. Similarly, anyone who is not Krishna conscious and following blindly some rascal, he is imperfect and he will suffer. And because we have taken Krishna's shelter, Krishna said, sarvaṁ parityajya mamekam sarva. He will give guidance. If you perfectly surrender to him, he will guide. He is within you. Everyone. Ishara sarvabhutanam nirmamo. Ishara tishtati. He is there. He is not far away. Although he lives in his own abode, Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuta. That is Krishna. Although he is in his abode, but he is everywhere. Where is Krishna? although he is living in Goloka Vrindavan, he is in this temple, he is within our heart. Simply we have to take advantage how he is present, how he is advising. That is the technique. That is Krishna consciousness movement. God is everywhere. He is prepared to guide you. He is prepared to help you because his Father is always prepared. But we do not take his guidance. We do not take his shelter. That is the difficulty. So why you do not take? Because agamaveti, we are attachment. This country is mine, this family is mine, this wife is mine, the children is mine. Mine, 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 mine. So you have to become nirmamo without mind. And why you are accepting this mind? Ahaṅkāraḥ. Ahaṅkāraḥ means false ahaṅkāraḥ, false identification. Everyone is fighting because the false identification, I am this body. He does not know. In this way, we are so much in ignorance, therefore the word used, mūಢā, is the appropriate word. Mūಢā, rascal. We call everyone rascal, that is a harsh word, but actually that is the fact. They do not know what is what. So, if you are actually serious about stopping this rascal now and wish to go back to home, back to Godhead, then you have to take this Krishna consciousness. Because by becoming Krishna conscious, you become fully qualified. Jasyāsi bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvaṁ, because this surrendering to Krishna, that is the perfection of intelligence. Therefore Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan māga prapaddati Vasudeva sarmiti sa mahatma sudurlava. Because everyone is struggling. Manasasthani indrani prakritisthani karsati. Prakritisthani, in this material nature, everyone is struggling. Prakritisthani karsati. With the mind and the senses. That's all. Compact in the direction of the mind. Monodharma. Monodharma. So long we are directed by the flickering mind, then we are in danger. We have to go above mind, there is intelligence. The intelligence is where to consider whether I am this body or I am something else. So in this way, from the mental platform, you have to elevate yourself to the intellectual platform, and from the intellectual platform, you have to raise yourself to the spiritual platform. Then you will be able to give up so-called material possession, completely free, and surrender to Krishna and become wise. Thank you very much.
Wonderful lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Very, very nice. To the point. Srila Prabhupada's lectures he makes it so simple, so nice, so clear, and really makes us think of our position and our consciousness. I would like to ask devotees to please do, if you have any thoughts, any realizations, any thing to share, food for thought, please do unmute yourself. I would like to request His Grace Visṛjya Prabhu, if you would kindly share with us, Prabhu, if you would like to take the lead and share thoughts and reflections, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Accept my obeisances.
Yes, I'd like to, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the different living entities who have powerful senses. It's a good thing to remember that. Can we review that? There were five different species of beings that had powerful senses that got him in trouble? You don't have to go up.
I think
I'm
he
asking.
said 6, right?
Later he said 6, but but
Yeah.
he named 5. I don't know, maybe there's another one that's so anyway, maybe the devotees here could review those. Anybody remember one of them? Nobody?
Well, one of yeah, I think I'm coming to the point here, Prabhu. Sightseeing is one of them. Hearing is another one.
What's the example of sightseeing?
Um, hmm. I
That, that
just
that's the example, yeah. The sightseeing was the insect or moth that flies
Yeah,
into the fire. Yeah.
the night. Oh no, that was the night flight. That's a different one. I think is that right, Prabhu? The night flies he was talking about. That's so beautiful. Thousand of flies.
Yeah, they go, you've
Yeah.
seen just like, you know, we don't have so many fires nowadays because you have electric lights, but they get onto the electric light and sometimes even they sit on the electric light and they burn themselves up because there's some, but when there's fires, also insects come and they close and moth flies into the fire because it's so attracted by the brilliance and the sight of the fire. So that's the eyes. And then how about ears? Anybody remember? Very good examples. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Remember the
Yeah,
ears?
he uses the example of um, hunter over here. When the hunter wants to kill, he plays a very nice flute. Very interesting example Prabhupada uses here, actually.
And the flute, the deer, specifically the deer species, hears the flute and they get stunned. They're listening to and then because it doesn't move, deers run fast. They can run they're very,
Mm.
very agile of jumping, running. But by hearing the flute, they stay stationary and then the hunter attacks. And then was the fish.
The
The
fish was
fish.
the he uses the one as a tongue.
Yeah, because there's all this food in the ocean, but
Yeah.
but they go for that worm on the hook or the bait on the hook. They have to have that, and so then they get caught, and that's their death. And then what was the hearing, sight, smell was the bee
The
going
bee
into
with
the
the
flower,
big flower.
and
Yes.
then the flower closes in the nighttime, and they get stuck there tasting the appreciating the aroma or the smell of the flower. And then the touch was the elephant going to
Yes.
train the she elephant to go by a to lead the
Induce.
male elephant by a
Mhm.
pit. So the elephant runs and falls into the pit. So each one of these species has an individual sense that becomes prominent that leads to their death. But the human being, all of our senses are prominent. So each one of any one of them can lead to our demise. So one has to be very careful. That was very uh, picturesque, colorful illustration. Then someone has to be especially in human form of life, especially careful because any one of the senses, Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, any one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away the mind, even of a person of intelligence who's trying to control them. Yeah. Then there was a discussion at one of the sadhu sanghas because usually in the sadhu sangha, if you've been there, they have a class in the morning by a senior devotee. So a senior devotee was emphasizing the need for renunciation, like here Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira is renouncing, and one of the devotees in the audience, who's also a senior devotee, he kind of objected because he said, no, it should be automatic. When you advance in Krishna consciousness, then automatically you give up the other things, the lower taste automatically. And the devotee who was a sannyasi, in fact, on the giving the class said, no, you have to actually give up. You can't just wait for the to happen automatically. So what would you say or the devotees here say about that?
Yeah, it's interesting, Prabhu, that you brought it up because here Srila Prabhupada is using the word voluntarily.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, see, he says right here. So the one process is voluntarily giving up, meaning it's on our own, right? It's not, I mean, I don't, at least for me, the word voluntarily comes from the word volunteer, that we do it on our own. At least for me, to my limited, knowledge is doing on my own is not automatic. I don't think, unless I'm not understanding the word correctly. But it's like we have to be convinced and believe and really want to do it from our heart voluntarily, just because we want to do it. Because we really, it's coming from the heart. It's not like pushing a button automatically and then they just do it. At least that's what's coming to my mind, Prabhu.
Yes. It's a wonderful discussion about how a person advances in Krishna consciousness. Oh, here's Dear Krishna Prabhu. If it is not voluntary, it does not last long. So that means, so if it's forced, if it's forced renunciation, oh, that's his point. Yeah, I agree with you. If it's not
It's
voluntary,
short-lived.
yeah,
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 it's short-lived. It's like false enthusiasm, when we get all excited and wired up and wound up and we jump head down, dive in. It's short-lived as opposed to real enthusiasm. So yeah, that's what's coming to my mind, Prabhu, voluntarily, because I caught that word actually when Prabhupada was giving the class. So the process is voluntarily giving up.
and he
That
says
was
it
the
twice here.
Yes, Prabhu. I can't find the other one, but this is one that caught my attention. And
So do we want
oh
to?
yes,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
right
go
here,
ahead.
Prabhu. He says another, there was nothing material, unhappiness, but still voluntarily he is giving up. This is civilization.
So was that voluntarily automatic or not?
Prabhu, for me, at least to me, I don't think it's automatic. I mean, unless there's a different meaning to automatic.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good. Sometimes we say that Krishna consciousness, you automatically give up. You get the higher taste, you automatically give up the lower taste. But still, at a certain point, you got to decide to give it up. You can't. It's not that it's going to happen
Yeah,
without your.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Prabhu. Yes, exactly. And I think that's, yeah, right. Because yeah, it's not automatic, but it has to come from within. Like we have to really want to believe it. And because I think what's coming to my mind is voluntarily giving up is also, like real detachment. I think there was one point that I made a note where Srila Prabhupada was saying that our real interest is to capture Krishna. So we should have that real interest to want to, give up voluntarily as opposed to automatic. That's what's coming to my mind, Prabhu.
Sure. This is the Sarvanga Sundara Damodar has a
Yes,
saying.
Damodar. Please go ahead, Damodar.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to the devotees on the call. Uh, thank you, Prabhu, for bringing that point up. A very nice point about what is exactly renunciation. Like till now, my experience is like voluntarily giving up is like there will be a small force, and like God will also help. Like when this is when we are trying to give up like small things, like making small vows. Suppose we are chanting 1 or 2 rounds, and we want to go for 3 or 4 rounds. That is a small increment, so we want to voluntarily increase it. And like it's like a small force for that, but in a long run, then we reach 16 rounds later on. Instead of just like from today I'm doing 16 rounds, meaning you're taking out 2 hours of your time, like without, that's an abrupt change. And if you're doing it slowly, like voluntarily adding those 2 rounds, it becomes easier. So and that's how like even Lord helps us to like it gives experiences. Oh, I gave up this 15 minutes. Somewhere my 15 minutes were saved. Like something we were doing for a long time, and you get some idea to do it very quickly. Like these kind of things happen a lot of times. So that's what I understand. Like a little bit of a force is needed at first, initially, and then like Lord helps out. That's what I understand. Thank you, bro.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Damodar. That was a nice reflection, especially when you talked about the chanting the rounds. Yes. Please, Prabhu, go ahead, Prabhu.
And especially the nirmamo, nirahaṅkāraḥ might come up, when we have, it's especially there related to one's bank balance. You got a certain amount of money in the bank, and you call it yours. The Srila Prabhupada is saying, no, it's actually Krishna consciousness means that's Krishna's. That money is Krishna's. And then voluntarily giving up to Krishna, that's Krishna. It's his money already. But if you try to force somebody to give some donation, then they won't. But if they're convinced by intelligence that that's Krishna's money, and by giving it back to Krishna or giving it to Krishna, then it's helps me advance in Krishna consciousness by becoming detached from that false conception. That's liberating, not even though it might be sometimes a little difficult. You follow?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yes. Especially when it comes to bank balance.
Yeah, sure. Then that's the
Yeah.
thing.
We
And
hang
there's
on
so
to the
many things.
last penny.
So many things we say are ours, and and plus in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Yat karoshi juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kunteya." So tapasya is there, but with our intelligence, we offer it to Krishna. But we have to actually practice it. Regular practice. And there's so many parts of the Krishna consciousness movement, which Damodar mentioned is, the number one austerity or tapasya is chanting the holy name regularly. Devotees who are initiated chant minimum of 16 rounds, but because that renunciation, you got to do, instead of doing some other things that you might think are more fun, but okay, we're going to accept this renunciation, renunciate the other things, and of course the 4 regulative principles, and then making some time for regular devotional service throughout the day. That's important. Then there was also, Srila Prabhupada was talking about the fault of Darwin's theory, one of the faults of Darwin's theory. Did you catch that? Anybody?
The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, that Big Bang wasn't Darwin. That
Oh,
was
sorry.
that, but that's also, he also said that. You're true.
Yeah.
So what was his point about that?
Well, at least the one for the Big Bang Theory, Prabhu, how Srila Prabhupada said it so nicely was that nobody asked, how did it happen? No, how did it, they just accepted it. Someone said it and they accepted it. No
Oh,
one bothered to ask.
there's a very, really very in-depth, not that much in depth, but it's very easily understandable summary of the Big Bang Theory by Sadaputa Prabhu. You can find it on his website under the when they made the Origin magazine. I don't know if you've seen the Origin magazine. It was produced in the 80s, and it has kind of a scientific presentation of Krishna consciousness. Anyway, so he gave some lectures on that when this magazine was presented, and the second one was, and you can find it on the internet. The second one was about the development of how the Big Bang Theory came about and the fallacies of the Big Bang Theory. It's very, very interesting for those who have a little bit scientific bent of mind, how it came about, and then and Srila Prabhupada points it out here generally. and then he goes into it in depth. So anyway, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Somebody,
here, Prabhu, I just found it where Srila Prabhupada says uh, that Darwin's theory is a failure because he cannot explain that why there are different types of even in human society. Every man is different from the other man.
yeah.
Why? Yeah.
So when I first, when I was first listening to that, I thought, oh, well, okay, yeah, but that's true. But because what would be the standard scientific response to that? Oh, there's all these different types of bodies. Why are they all different? What's the standard scientific response? You know.
Because the DNA and
Yeah,
the weather
yeah.
around.
Everybody's got a separate set of DNA, and we'll, in the modern world, we think, well, the DNA is what makes your body, right? And everybody's got a separate DNA, and so then, okay, but what's the difficulty with that idea?
Again, then why that DNA?
Yes. So, so we say, oh, well, I have this, I have this kind of body, and with eyes and nose and metabolism and all that, because, and that's me. But why does I have this particular DNA and not another DNA? Right? That's one. But if we want to go back to the theory of evolution, then the theory of evolution says that these species came from one-celled animals way back when, and developed over time, survival of the fittest, and different mutations in the DNA structure happened, and then finally we came to human beings. But if the human beings came from one kind of DNA way back then, how come there's so many different kinds of DNA now? Yeah, why is that? And then you think about it, DNA, if you have a DNA and there's a mutation in DNA, usually mutations in DNA are very detrimental. They make the organism decrepit or not functional. So there's all these varieties of DNA. Where did they all come from? It doesn't, it doesn't compute with the theory of Darwin that everybody came from one, as dear Krishna, there was a monkey, and then because they're looking for the Darwinian theory is looking for that monkey that became a human being, and that's where the humans started to develop there, right? But that came from that one, ancestor who had a particular DNA. But now, where do all these DNAs come from today? All millions of different kinds of DNA, different kinds of bodies. Prabhupada said black, white, Indian, this. So many varieties. He can't explain that. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. And then here Srila Prabhupada continues to talk about karma, the soul's karma. Yes. And then he says this science is unknown to him because but still he's known as the master of evolution. And people are following him. This is ignorance.
Yeah.
Is
I mean, in
yes.
general, people in general are not scientists. So there's somebody that, modern science comes up with a certain story. And, on the surface, it seems a little bit plausible. So I said, okay, all right. But if you really go into the details, deep down into the details, it really doesn't make sense at all. But nobody's, we go about our lives. What's our purpose? Make money, enjoy the senses. So we're not going to really care about it too much, really.
And because of that, we just follow blindly, as Prabhupada calls blind rascals.
Yeah, which is Srila Prabhupada likes that word rascals.
He surely does, Prabhu.
Mudha. Sometimes people say mudha means ass. Also, but Prabhupada mostly uses rascals. And
Quite a bit.
He said it might be a little harsh. In the United
Yes.
States, though, the word rascal isn't such a harsh word, though. You know that?
Oh, really? I thought it
It's not
was.
such a harsh
Okay.
word. You know why? You know why?
No.
Anybody? Some Americans here on this call, yes. Because in in the 30s and 40s and 50s, there was a program called the Little Rascals. You never heard this? And
Ooh.
they were, you know, a gang of kids who were kind of a little bit naughty but lovable, and they were the Little Rascals. And so it's kind of an icon in American society that the little so a rascal in American society among Americans anyway who know this background. Maybe nobody knows about it now, but it was quite well known in the say when I grew up in the 50s that you know these are just you know people a little misguided, kids were a little misguided, a little mischievous, but you know they're basically good. That so but rascal has you know can also be a little more pejorative, I suppose. In the United States, not that much.
Yeah, that is, yeah, but Prabhupada said that, yeah, that's a harsh word, but then he says, but that's the fact.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's what he says. Yeah, it's so interesting. This is really a nice, of course, all of his lectures are so powerful, and each lecture we say it's powerful. This is also another powerful lecture by Srila Prabhupada. And one point, Prabhu, that I made note that I was thinking about, how Srila Prabhupada so nicely put difference between bondage and freedom.
Oh
That
yeah.
was really, yeah, because he says difference between bondage and freedom is it is not mine, it's Krishna's. Like he's made it so simple. That was one point that I
Very
was
quick.
like,
Yeah.
wow, yeah. Because sometimes, Prabhu, we kind of get so much, into this mind thing of bondage and freedom and what it means. But he made it so simple. What is not mine is Krishna's. That is freedom from, is difference between bondage and freedom. And, I mean, that was one strong point that how so simple, how so simply Srila Prabhupada made it, defined bondage and freedom in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
That was one. And another point that I liked, Prabhu, I wanted to ask you about this, Prabhu. There's one point that Srila Prabhupada ended at that I made note. He said, renounce this world by practice. And then he says, anything you possess does not belong to you, belongs to Krishna. And I wanted to ask you, Prabhu, if you could elaborate on that point, renounce this world by practice, is how can we develop that mood of practice, of renunciation? Like how can we do it? Where can we start?
Well, I'm sure devotees have ideas about this. I mean, the regular practice of devotional service is renunciation,
Yes, you're
offering
right.
offering all of our food to Krishna for for his pleasure, not for our pleasure. Offering, I mean, for us who I mean, in the early days of ISKCON, everybody lived in a temple. And so, you know, not everybody, but 95% of the devotees, you remember.
Yes,
Uh,
Prabhu. Temple
So,
devotees.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that was the temple devotee. So one's activities were directed all 24 hours a day to different kinds of practical service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Uh, going on Harinam, chanting the holy names, that's renunciation, Vairagya Vidya, and engaging in distributing transcendental literature, distributing prasadam, cleaning the temple, uh, um, cooking for Krishna, doing deity worship, all that's renunciation. That's renunciation. And for us who don't live inside temples now, then it's important that uh, if we're working and we're collecting Lakshmi or money, that we should give some nice donation to the temple. Otherwise, we're going to get entangled in the fruits of work. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Jagyartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Work has to be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Otherwise, work binds one to the material world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a disciple, at least one, I don't know if more, but who was a grihastha, was working outside his family. So every to illustrate this principle, every time he got paid, or he got whatever his job was, he would send it all to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would send him back enough money for his, the maintenance for him and his family, which is quite a, illustrative point. You follow?
Yes, Prabhu, absolutely. That's like amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, for the spiritual master to give back something that he has to maintain his family materially.
yeah. I mean, but so the point being, so that whatever actions that we are involved with,
Mm.
there should be some a renunciation of that, of the fruits of that to Krishna service, one way or another. Not
Yes.
so some dharma, artha, diya, vacha. No, what is that? Prana, artha, diya, vacha. Prana means give your life, and if you haven't given fully your life, then because giving your life means all these other things anyway. Prana, artha means your wealth, diya, your intelligence, vacha means your words. So renouncing all of that for the service of Krishna is devotional service.
Prabhu, it's actually interesting that you mentioned because like you mentioned in the old days, um, we were all temple devotees. We lived in the temple, did service morning till night, so on and so forth. But now that is not so much the situation. Like how in today's ISKCON, like what it was like 20, 30, 40 years ago, because majority of devotees are working adults. And what happens, Prabhu, is when we are working adults, then that that attachment to comfort or stability, or all that becomes so much more prominent that sometimes I feel that the renunciation, the renouncing part, it's difficult.
Yes,
It's
it's
very difficult.
it's not as regularly practiced as might be beneficial for our devotees. So
Yes, yes.
so that's why you have traveling sannyasis and others who encourage us people to increase their devotional service, or increase their support of spreading Krishna consciousness one way or the other, in either financially or both, financially or involvement in, or both in that way. Because otherwise it becomes, as you're saying, we become complacent, we become attached to the comforts, and it's a bother, it's an inconvenience, we think, to chant Hare Krishna in public, or to distribute books, or to do regulated service in the temple environment, cleaning or doing all the things. So then we become more and more attached to our material comforts. Shyam Sundar, Shyam Sundar Prabhupada's, in one of his early secretaries, he he's an interesting devotee because he traveled with Srila Prabhupada around the world a lot of times, and he was quite innovative. And he would say, he says, I think maybe in ISKCON we've become a little more too complacent in our ways. So I mean, everybody has their own situation, and they know to a degree what their situation is and how they can improve. But there's certain aspects and times where we can be called upon to do extra service, and that's an opportunity to renounce our material attachments. For example, usually during the time of Ratha Yatra, there's lots of service that's got to be going on. So we could take advantage. Lord Jagannath is calling for everybody. Come on, serve. It should become, it's an opportunity, it's an opportunity to become more detached from our material comforts and do lots of service for Krishna. For Lord Jagannath, there's a interesting video of my godbrother Mahārāja Prabhu. You can find it on dandavats.com. Mahārāja. he tells it's the story of the 1976 Rath Yatra parade in New York, which was the first large Rath Yatra parade in New York when Srila Prabhupada came there. And what happened was the Jayananda Prabhu was there, who was making the carts in these gigantic wheels made of steel, which was the first in ISKCON, and Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, there's so many interesting aspects of it. But what happened was, just the day before, they had 3 carts. Just the day before, a huge wind blew and blew over 2 of the carts and seriously damaged their canopies. And so Jayananda was of the opinion, well, we could maybe repair 1, we'll never be able to repair 2. And but then working with Jayananda, the Maheshwar and other they went to the temple and they rallied, because there were many visiting devotees. They rallied all the devotees and they came down to the place where the carts had been built, and all night they worked, all night from 6 o'clock in the evening till 7 o'clock in the morning to get those carts done. And they did it. They repaired the carts, and for that first parade down Fifth Avenue in New York. So it's just an example of renouncing one's comfort to serve Lord Krishna, Lord Jagannath, and Srila Prabhupada.
I'm going to look for that article, Prabhu, afterwards on Dandavat by Maheshwara Prabhu.
Mahyesvara. It's
Mayyesvar. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the title is something with Vayu on it. Vayu, V-A-Y, because
Okay.
Vayu, the wind blew over. So I think it's something like, who is more powerful, Lord Vayu or Lord Jagannath? Something like that.
That's interesting, Prabhu.
It's a video of him presenting the pastime in Los Angeles temple, because he lives in California now. That time he was in New York. I remember. I was there also at that time, so I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I will definitely look for that article, for I would love to read it. It's such a wonderful article and pastime.
It's actually a video, so I don't think you can
Video.
read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll look for that, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing that. Amazing. Any other points that devotees would like to share? We are so fortunate to have this discussion. Yes, Damodar, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. I just remembered, I think this particular pastime was told by, I think, His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj in our temple before our Rath Yatra this year.
Oh, okay.
He was there, I guess. Yeah. I remember it was like they worked all the night. I think it was Chandramauli Maharaj, maybe. And actually, the point that I wanted to say, it was funny how Prabhupada mentioned about the currency, that we are more advanced right now. He was talking about what's today's advancement. You got paper notes, and I was thinking, like, now it's digital age, and it is easier to cheat. Like, earlier there was gold. It is difficult to cheat with the gold coins. Now with the paper, you can cheat more easily. And now it's getting easier. It's just digital currency, so anyone who can hack the system, they can cheat easily. They can just change the number anyhow. So that was one thing I found very funny. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you. Yeah. And I just found the video, Prabhu. Yes, it is who is stronger, Lord Vayu or Lord Jagannath? I'm going to watch it afterwards. Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else would like to share something, please? Wonderful points from Vishrjya Prabhu. Really amazing points. Definitely a lot of food for thought. If there isn't, thank you, Vishrjya Prabhu, for such a wonderful sharing. We always learn so much when you share and speak with us. And we thank all the devotees for joining us. Vanchakavdibhyascha, Kripasindubhevcha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day, devotees. Hari Hari Bol.